Everyone, welcome back to the NFA Review channel. We have a new kit on the block today for review, the Small Arms Technologies CF9. You've probably already figured out what the CF stands for, carbon fibers. We're gonna take a look at this new innovative suppressor here in the studio, and then of course, as usual, we're gonna hit the range and see just how it does on a couple hosts. We're gonna shoot it profile, front view, and from downrange, so you get multiple sound profiles, so you know exactly what it sounds like, so you can make an educated purchase on it. Before we start, just want to give a huge shout out to all my patrons on Patreon. Patreon's doing good. We keep adding new pro deals almost every other week, so thank you again for that, and happy shopping, especially this time of year. So let's go ahead, get started, and then we'll hit the range. Okay, in the box here, just slide out the packaging, set that aside. One thing I noticed right away for dealers is this is a nice size box to stack, forward to rear in your safe at your gun shop. And of course, they put the model number and the serial number on the end, so when you have a customer calling on their can, you can just reference it real quick, write their name and phone number on the box. So to my dealers out there that know the pains of storing suppressors, it's definitely not too bad here with the CF9. You have a spare O-ring, that's going to be for the piston area. You have spare front cap screws, and then a takedown tool. We'll get to that in a second. Your manual, and then of course the beautiful carbon fiber suppressor and the takedown tool. So let's get this out of the way and we will get right down to business. The CF9 comes in an overall length of 7.25 inches, a diameter of 1.375 inches, and it weighs 7.5 ounces. Now you're probably wondering what it's made from. The first one, the elephant in the room, of course, is this beautiful matte finish carbon fiber tube. It also has 4140 alloy steel and 7075 T6 aluminum. So as far as the breakdown on where those materials are located, you're going to have your 4140 in the blast chamber here and on this front cap area. Now, it's very important to note that they're going with the trend here of engraving the suppressor info and your serial number here on this ring. Okay, this ring is housed in the blast chamber area, and that's where your piston's going to be, so it's protected should you have a catastrophic failure down the end of the tube. They can just replace it a lot easier and protect your stamp, protect your investment. So that's the 4140 steel that's been coated. Looks like a black nitride, more of a matte finish there. Carbon fiber tube, your baffle stack's going to be 7075 T6 aluminum, and then you have this front wipe holder, more on that in a second, and that feels like 7075 T6 as well, so you don't have a lot of weight added onto the end of the can, which is something I immediately noticed when I picked it up out of the box. 7.5 ounces is pretty light for a handgun can, and when you hold it in your hand, you can immediately feel that the weight is in the rear section. So when you do mount it on your host gun, you're going to have that weight more towards your shooting hand, and it's not going to feel like it's adding much weight to the end of your gun. So let's get right down to the party trick of the suppressor, and that is the Cool Core technology. So what that basically does is enable you to handle this can after an extended shooting period. So what they've essentially done here is, and I'll show this close up on the screen because I'm just going to be impossible to show you here, but you'll see these vent holes in the back and the front of the suppressor. So think of that as an insulator area. So between the inner part of the suppressor wall and the inside wall of the carbon here, you have airspace. It's about that thick. So while you're shooting, this is going to act like an insulating mug, I guess you could say, and it's going to allow air to distribute itself around the inner core of the suppressor so it doesn't get hot to the touch. What that's also going to do is act as a heat sink to pull heat away from the baffle stack. And anytime you can cool down the baffle stack, not only will the suppressor be quieter, but the longevity is going to increase because you don't have the metal itself breaking down in the extreme environment during shooting. Another cool party trick they have is the replaceable front end cap system. So I haven't asked them yet, but I'm pretty sure you can shoot it without this. But of course, adding a wipe is going to significantly decrease the sound signature for at least 2 mags or so. And the bore aperture on this is quite tight, more so than other wipe systems. So you might have another wipe where it holds an entire wipe the size of the front of the cap. This one really, I mean, narrows down that field there. So when that bullet pushes through, it shouldn't rip too bad, and it's going to keep the gas sealed pretty tight around the projectile as it exits the can. Now, of course, ATF says you cannot replace your own wipes. Take that for what you will. It's a rubber wipe that can be found on McMaster car, and a punch can probably make some. Just saying. Otherwise, you'd have to go to your dealer, and your dealer would have to replace it for you. Anyway, moving past that. Yeah, so the only thing about this can that some of you probably not going to like is that it's sealed. So you cannot service this can. They quote on their website why would you clean a muffler on your car? Why would you clean your suppressor? Which definitely holds true for rifle cans. You don't need to clean rifle cans. They get very hot inside. The carbon burns off well. Pistol cans, that's going to be, we're going to have to see how that goes. I definitely don't shoot these as much. I don't really have problems filling these up with carbon because I spread out my shooting amongst multiple brands and cans, so I don't really have an issue with cleaning centerfire cans. I mean, actually, while I'm looking at the wall, the Osprey here from Silencer Co., that's a sealed pistol can. But then I also have ones that are not, like the CGS Group Mod 9, the Rugged Suppressors Obsidian 45, the Tyrant, even though that one's a pain in the butt to clean. I don't clean that one anymore. Only time will tell. It is lifetime rated from the company, so I'm sure should you have a decrease in performance, you can send it in and they can probably clean it or throw a new core in there or whatnot. I'll have to run that by them. But other than that, pretty straightforward. Comes with a takedown tool here. You'll see the spanner holes in the back of the piston area, and that is what this takedown tool is for. So just enter the tool in and then unscrew the rear section. Be careful, it's under tension from the spring inside. It shouldn't go anywhere. There it goes. And then you have your piston spring. It does not ship with a piston. We'll go ahead and pop out a brand new one here. This is a 1/2 by 28. And then, of course, when you look in there, you can see corresponding with the pattern on the piston, you do have different points to where you can index this can for point of impact shift. So that's good. Throw the spring on, settle it down in the can, use your tool, and then you're going to compress that spring while turning until the threads bite, and you're good to go. Another thing they did is they put a hole through their takedown tool, so in the event you have carbon buildup, you can put some sort of leverage tool in there like a screwdriver and help take it apart. So there you go. That's what it looks like with the piston installed and the fresh front cap. So I have 2 of these to test. I will definitely shoot it with the wipe and without the wipe to see how much performance the wipe adds, and then of course shoot the heck out of the wipe and see how long it can last for till the performance starts to degrade. Other than that, since I can't show you the inside, let's go ahead and rather than spending more time here in the studio, let's see what this can do. Yeah, let's see what this can do. Decibel reduction is 27 to 30 dB on average. That's pretty good. So yeah, let's put it to the test. I definitely want to shoot this on my stainless Beretta just because this can looks so beautiful, and the Beretta is a great host and sounds wonderful on it. So we'll bring out a couple brands of ammo, different weights, and let's see what it can do. That was without the wipe, and the can is completely cool to the touch. LAX ammo, brand new front end cap installed, shot dry. Okay, the wipe has 10 rounds shot through it. We switched it up to the Fiocchi 158 grain ammo, 10 rounds. And still cool. Oh man, I love that combo. The wipe, the 165 grain, you can hear the thud of the projectile hitting the dirt. Okay, I want to hear what it sounds like shot wet with the wipe. We do have 30 rounds through the wipe, but it's still hanging in there pretty good. I didn't have any water with me, so I just poured a couple cc's of fire clean gun oil in there. So see what happens. See what it sounds like. Not bad. Smoky. Gotta love that thud hitting the dirt. All right, installed a brand new wipe. Can is shot dry. There might be a little bit of oil left in there, but it's pretty much all shot out. And we're using the 165 grain hush because, you know, it just sounds the best. Woo, boy. That was danger close to the camera. You heard that. Alright, we're using the same old used wipe, add a little bit more oil. We have 15 rounds of the 165 grain LAX. I'm gonna do a mag dump fast as we can, see how hot the tube gets. Wow, nothing. I mean, it's not even warm. Okay, let's try something new, totally new experience here. So I'm gonna walk out, I don't know, 25 yards or so, and then I'm gonna walk towards the camera and the microphone as I'm shooting left and right to kind of mimic you are the camera and the microphone looking at me, and I'm shooting past you as I'm getting closer. So just kind of a different view. Let's just let's see what it sounds like. So I'm shooting 15 rounds LAX 165. The can is dry with the old shot up wipe in it. Well, we'll see what that sounds like. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As you probably noticed, I forgot my sunglasses today on probably the brightest day we've had this winter. It's been pretty doom and gloomy for the past month, just crappy rain. It's actually supposed to rain later today, but we had a beautiful morning out here in Florida. But yeah, forgot my sunglasses. So Luckily, I had some safety glasses stowed behind the safe in my truck, so I was able to protect my eyes today. So yeah, that would have really sucked. The performance, so definitely not the quietest 9mm can that I've ever shot, not the loudest either. I would put it on par with the Silencer Co. Osprey, somewhere right around there, with a deeper tone. The Osprey has a really well-known high pitched tone, which I don't particularly like. I like the lower frequencies. I did not notice any degradation of sound performance as the wipe was worn, so I don't know what that's about. It was definitely quieter with the wipe. You need to use it with the wipe. I wonder if this is just more of just how it's supposed to be, as far as not needing to replace it. It is, you know, interchangeable, but as you can see here, and I'll show you a close-up here in a second, I mean, the wipe is not torn up that bad, so it's still gonna seal gas behind the projectile. No blowback to the face, which I thought was interesting given this is pretty sealed up tight. I mean, this is a wiped can. The bore aperture is very tight. I did not get any gas pressure in my face underneath the glasses. I didn't feel any splatter of oil. So that's pretty interesting. That definitely was not expected. I did have a boo-boo. I forgot that the Beretta needs an extended piston because of the way the guide rod protrudes under recoil, and it gouged up the back of the can here. So I'm gonna have to beg them to fix that for me. That was my own stupidity. Don't do that at home. So if you shoot it on a Beretta, they'll need to make you an slightly extended by 1/8 of an inch or so piston there. I tried it off camera on a Glock. I just didn't have time today to do a whole bunch of hosts. I shot it on my Glock 19X. Plenty of clearance, sounded the same as the Beretta. Of course, the best ammo today was the LAX 165. I know I called it the Hush 165. That's just out of habit. It's basically the same ammo rebranded. That ammo still holds true today, sounds amazing. The 147 wasn't bad. The Fiocchi 158 sounded really good. And of course, the 165 grain was downright magical. I noticed this definitely projected the sound away from the shooter. Again, there wasn't a lot of back pressure, so as a shooter, it wasn't loud, but it's definitely not the quietest 9mm can I've ever heard, you know, on a Spectrum. I bet the quietest I've ever heard is probably the Mod 9, but that thing's just next level quiet. Again, I'd put this right around Osprey. What else would I compare this to? Octane, the Octane 9. It's pretty close to the Octane 9 from Silencer Co. So the cool party trick worked. It was cool to the touch when I held it. I've never had that before. Even on pistol cans, those of you that have been around suppressors for any short amount of time know that even in one magazine shot rapidly through a handgun, you can't touch that can. We shot it the entire day. I shot a couple hundred rounds through it on and off camera. I mean, it was barely even warm, if that. So that's pretty cool. That definitely works. That would be something really good to have using this on a carbine. I didn't have a fixed barrel spacer for it, so I couldn't run it on a carbine, but I'm sure you could get it from them. Use it on a Glock mag pattern, 9mm, maybe like a MP5 tri-lug with the 1/2x28 threads on it. That's gonna be cool because then you can shoot a lot more ammo through it rapidly and then lay it down on a bench. You know, you don't need to worry about melting your bags. You can pack up from the range and head home early without a cool down period. So that was pretty cool. So hope you guys enjoyed the different camera angles today. That was something new that I don't normally do. Hopefully it turned out. I had to put that last one there on autofocus just because I'm working alone out here. I didn't have any help getting my focus points, but the point of that was really the microphone. So hopefully it sounds good. God, that sun just can't decide what it wants to do. So hope you enjoyed the video. A lot more reviews coming here after the new year. I hope you guys have a great time with your family on Christmas. I'm going to be stuck at work at the fire department with my second family. No big deal. Let's ring in the new year big. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button, and let's keep getting awesome reviews out to you guys. See ya.